Let's move on because it's something that Sonny has alluded to. We'll come to Brains on this one first. Talk about, did Spurs get ahead of themselves after the Aston Villa game? Because, you know, Sonny, you spoke about before that maybe Spurs came into this game against Fulham. I thought it as well, being like just turning up expecting to win. But the fans' narrative after that Aston Villa game as well was like, all right, we've beaten Villa now, top four's sorted, there's no chance we're not finishing in the top four, and then we come crashing back down to earth after a 3-0 loss to Fulham. Do you feel that Spurs did get ahead of themselves, Brains?
Yeah, but I think that's like the nature of when you go through a rebuild and you have young players all over the place, which obviously you need youth, and you need muscles that are the fast kind of working fibers aren't old and ready to tear with this type of heavy training. But then, like, so physically we could be building the right age profile, and even Kulu's 23, you know, like physically you're building the right thing, but mentally all the problems are in youth for mental, you know, like just even like being at their age, they will stay up late and play games. Like, they're humans. They will they won't be sitting there going, they'll be trying to take their heads off must win tomorrow, these types of ideas, because that can burn a player out. You know, like, you need to be of age to have gone through these big games and not bottle it. You know, they're at the age where they'll do whatever. They can't sleep at night because a big game the next day, everyone knows it's a human thing you go through. A big thing the next day, you're not going to sleep. So then they'll play games, but games will be burning out their kind of highs and lows receptors, you know? So then they'll turn up tired, just not able to really get up for it. So these are just kind of youth things that, like, it just takes experience to handle those things. So I think that's what you're seeing in, like, some of the younger players, you know, like, it is a bit of complacency. And the thing about after games, I'd rather they get rid of this thing where players talk to the fans and say, sorry, it wasn't good enough. Like, that doesn't ring true anymore. Like, it doesn't feel good hearing any players saying that. Like, the older players in the team, kind of like, you can't have it be like a kind of militant thing, but the older players in the team have to maybe speak to the younger players and go, look, just, this is a big game, but it's not all on you. Like, we're a team, bring together that. And that's where there's a side of, like, coaching and management that comes into it, and then like dealing with their expectations. Like, sure, letting them know we're gonna lose a big game, like, it's just gonna happen, but like, it's like how you react with it. We win a big game against Villa, there's gonna be it's like whenever you get something massive, everything drops down, you know. So that was a likely thing to happen. So the older players and the coaching staff have to go, it's not a Spursy thing, it happens all over the place. Just certain coaches who are used to the drop after you win a big game, they know how to get in their players' heads and go, okay, look, maybe have a day off or whatever, like, we'll do something together or whatever, but like, you gotta get back up by that game, you know. So I think it's a bit of that. It's a complacency in the youth, but it's also a little bit of inexperience in this level of competition to get these players to understand what's actually at stake.
Yeah, and it's not just the players as well. I mean, the fans, Spurs fans particularly, obviously, because I know it more because I've been in it for all my life. But every time something looks very positive, we do like to get ourselves very carried away. You look at just the beginning of the season after the first 10 games, everyone's like, Ange Ball is here, we're in the title race, you know, it's all delivered already and all this kind of stuff. And then you fast forward to this Villa game and the whole fan base is saying, all right, top four's done and dusted. We're 100% getting this top four. Sonny, do you think that complacency set in within the fans and the players after that Villa game?
I think we all got excited, but I mean, you just see this weekend, Villa drew with West Ham, and Manchester United fans think they can finish in the top four now. I think also what hasn't helped is this whole coefficient thing, and the fact that so I heard some people saying Ange told the boys fifth is Champions League and they took their foot off the pedal on Saturday. So, but it's still not a given because, you know, there's still, you know, I think a lot of, you know, West Ham are playing a German team. So, you know, there's still
Arsenal too, yeah.
Exactly, like the points are so close on the coefficient, but we just got to keep going into every game. Like, it sounds really stereotypical, like 10 cup finals or whatever it is. Because
don't mention cup finals.
We always lose them whenever we say that. it's just got to be really important fixtures towards the end of the season. We've got a big say in the title race. We've got a big say in the relegation battle. Maybe the moving of the City game is helpful. We've got to play Chelsea again. That's been rescheduled. It's a massive end to the season, and the fact that we aren't playing European football, like a lot of these clubs are, or extra cup games, should go in our favour. But then we looked a bit leggy, so it's really hard to put your finger on where these issues come. So maybe a lot of people, I know Sim said earlier about thinking over the next 2 weeks on this international break, maybe it's come at a good time.
I think it's all Sim's fault, by the way. He started doing the whole like, win this, and we'll be 5 points behind Arsenal. And I was like, I started doing Sim math and being like, oh God, yeah. And it's like, we're going to be 5 points behind Arsenal.
Wasn't there a bet made saying if we're 5 points behind Arsenal by the end of this month or something on the group?
Josh King never took it.
You never took it. Lucky for you.
I put it up. He never took it.
I'm saying lucky for you that he never took it.
Yeah, very lucky because I've already been out of it already.
Brains, he's tempting the gods here. What's going on?
I know, like, part of it is just bantering Josh King, but then I get all excited and I'm like, yes! And then we lose and I'm like, Sam, I'm gonna kill you!
But Sim, do you think that we got ahead of ourselves?
Probably. I would say.
I think it's most definitely we got ahead of ourselves.
I think maybe a bit. Look, the way we won against Villa, obviously winning 4-0 in such a big game, you're obviously it's gonna mean a lot. And John McGinn was saying before that game how it was one of the biggest games in Villa's history. And obviously in the top 4 race, it didn't get much bigger than that game last week. But if you follow that up with a 3-0 defeat to Fulham, then that performance was always going to be in vain. And I'm maybe Ange as well, not himself, but I think the way he spoke after the game about that similar point. Maybe you saw last week how happy the players were. I think Maddison was on the post-match interview saying, yeah, it's a really happy dressing room. We know it's a big performance and a big result and everything like that. And maybe the whole element of us having a game in hand and 2 points behind, maybe it got to their heads that if we can go away at Villa and win so convincingly, then Fulham shouldn't be a problem. And all we have to do is turn up and attack like we did against Villa and we'll end up winning. And I think maybe the fact that a few players didn't do their defensive duties to a level which was required against a team like Fulham, and maybe we underestimated Fulham, and that's why we ended up with such a poor result. So I do think maybe there's an element of that. It's hard to say within Tottenham and the squad whether that was genuinely the feeling, because we're not in the dressing room. I don't know if that's what the feeling was, leading up to the game. It was just going to be easy. But all I can say is looking at the game, it just felt like a game where we thought we could just turn up, and if we just do our job on an offensive point, don't worry about defensively, don't worry about trying to contain Fulham, we're just going to turn up and play our attacking football and blow them away. And it wasn't as simple as that. Fulham came with a game plan. It was they outsmarted us, and we maybe underestimated how difficult that game was going to be. Even if I would have said to you before the game, yeah, we might lose, no one would have said 3-0. You might have said 2-1 or something like that. You wouldn't have said we would have been so comprehensively beaten like we were. So I think the fact we didn't anticipate how difficult Fulham were going to make it for us. I definitely think from a fan's point of view, I don't think we saw this performance coming. And so from that evidence, the fact we didn't saw it coming, I think shows that maybe we got ahead of ourselves, because we still got to realise and remember we're still very early on. And I think we're just all so ready to get to that stage where we're this consistent team playing week in, week out, playing this amazing football, and we're there. And because we had those first 10 games, we all thought, it's going to come immediately. It's going to come quickly. And then then after all those players went away to international break, we're thinking, as soon as they come back, it's going to happen. And then they all start coming back, and then they still have a few off games. Once they get back in their rhythm, it's going to happen. And then we saw Villa and Palace happen. We had 2 good performances. Okay, it's here. We're back again. But I think we all just got to realise realise it's still very, very early on in the process, and there's going to be off days like yesterday, and that's what we've got to realise.